And I've certainly had some very intense times in my life, in my work life, where I've wanted to give up, leave the field. And the main reason for that was I just felt so burnt out and compassion fatigued.
Tell me one of your stories around failure.
So it's really interesting because I've been thinking about this question since you kind of posed it to me. And I think if you'd asked me this question 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, I would have listed off failure. But now at this point in my life, I kind of was like, I can think of struggles that I've had and situations where I struggled and kind of learned from them, but I feel weird about calling them failures because I think I was doing the best that I could at the time. I've really worked hard on the self-compassion piece, so now it feels weird for me to say outright failures. I think because I learned from them, I think that's why I kind of frame them in this way of not really failures, because I learned from them. Like I can think of like, for example, the first time that I had a parent that I was working with, and it was really difficult because there was a cultural barrier there, and I cared so much about this family and about the child, and who had some very severe self-injury, and we did manage to kind of work through it, but there was a cultural difficulty with me and the mom, and I found her, the way she was quite aggressive and confrontational, and I found that really challenging. And I tried really hard to kind of connect with her, and I knew underneath her very hard tiger mom kind of facade that she obviously was very scared and really cared about her kid and was just trying to do the right thing, but also was operating within this culture where there was a lot of shame around having a child with a disability. And in the end, I had to admit defeat. That was the first time I had to say, I'm not able to meet this parent with an open, objective kind of stance, because she's become such an aversive stimulus for me. I'm going into my meetings with barriers up, and I don't feel like I'm the best person to be able to help her because of that. And I had to kind of give her up and ask to pass her to someone else. And that felt really, really hard for me to say I failed. Or if at the time it felt like that, it felt like I failed this family, and I can't help. I can't help, and I have to give this person family to somebody else. But now when I look at that, I don't see it as a failure. I see it as a really good learning opportunity for me, and also sometimes stepping back and saying I'm not the right person to do this and I'm struggling is actually the best thing that you can do for a client. And also I'm better able to see all the good work that we did together, and like the really big impact that I was able to have on the child and the family and the school. So I don't beat myself up about that anymore. And I think now I still struggle. I still have little failures, and they're more of the, when I'm working with parents usually, and I feel like I haven't listened. I'm a human being, so I can get caught up in my own agenda and my own thoughts and defensiveness when parents are being difficult. And sometimes I don't listen, and that feels horrible to me when I come away from those sessions and I think, oh God, I really argued with that person and I didn't listen, and I didn't like how I was being, or I was going into lecture teacher mode, which I hate. I hate when I feel myself going into that space. And I know it's an avoidance behavior. I could go into that space whenever I'm feeling like I don't know what to do, or I'm feeling kind of helpless or something. I can deal with that better now because I'm able to apologize. I go into the next session with that parent, or I contact that parent and I say, I'm really sorry. I came away from that meeting and I felt like I wasn't listening to you. And I was, I'll find some nice way of saying I was being obnoxious, and I apologize, and I want, can we reset, or can I I want to come into the session in a different way next time, and then we can move on, and it kind of, I don't torture myself about it anymore, and then I fix it, if that makes sense. But I wouldn't have been able to do that in the past. I would have just either not noticed that I was messing up, or kind of just got defensive, or not being able to know what to do about fixing it, I think.
Yeah, it seems like that self-awareness and self-compassion are pretty big.
Yeah,
Big
absolutely.
skill sets, right? Do you have a favorite resource or a go-to for either of those? Like, understand.
I'm trying to think what's helped me. I really like, there's some really nice ACT resources. Obviously, you can get a ton of self-help books on self-compassion too, but for me, I think some of my favorite ones are Kelly Wilson's book, Mindfulness for Two. Really impacted me as a clinician, but also as a human, just interacting with other people. So I recommend that book. And I think going to ACT trainings that are not necessarily for behavior analysts by people like Robin Walser, she's amazing. And other, like Sonia Batten, other really good ACT trainers, really, this is something that's missing from our field, is just this training in being a human being, like how to show up as a human whilst also keeping your behavior analyst hat on, and how to interact with people in like a compassionate way, and how to take care of yourself. We don't get training on how to prevent burnout or compassion fatigue. Like, it's a massive issue. And I've certainly had some very intense times in my life, in my work life, where I've wanted to give up, leave the field. And the main reason for that was I just felt so burnt out and compassion fatigued for caring so much and not knowing how to take care of myself, and feeling really worn down by some of the rigidity and arguing in our field, and feeling like I was just hitting my head against a brick wall. And I'm really glad I didn't leave the field, and I think I'm much less likely to go to that place now that I have the toolbox to be able to take care of my emotional well-being. And I'm also much better at, like, through ACT, again, not through our field, I have learned really good skills like boundary setting, who knew? And being able to kind of protect your space, and know when to kind of step back and learn how to just better navigate private event stuff that always shows up.
You see this failure series first on Patreon, so please go check it out. The link's included. It's not easy to put these together, and it's not very cheap either, so anything helps. All right, peace.